Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're interested in life coaching and mentoring, go check out my website at skyazrael.com. I got a topic request from a friend of the channel. I take topic requests as long as it's something that I feel like I can talk about. He mentioned the idea of sensitivity. We're living in an era of oversensitivity. There seems to be a culture of overly sensitive babies that have taken over society, right? You guys aware of this? There's oversensitivity that's been going on. I mean, it seems like it's kind of a new thing. Cancel culture, the culture wars. We got people screaming about racism, even though we just got done with 8 years of a black president, but you have a black vice president, but somehow this is the most racist time to be alive. You have people that are just so sensitive about every issue, gay issues and political issues and social justice and cancel culture. It's all in the same basket. Oversensitivity. Now, my first reaction with some of this stuff was to play along. I have a natural tendency to want to make people happy. And if there's a topic or an issue that you're sensitive about, I will tippy-toe around it just to make you happy, just so you don't get mad or you don't cry. And I played the game for a while. But it was a simpler game back then. And now it's getting to be a little bit too picky, and I guess I'm done. And that's where I wanted to talk about this today, because I've talked about cancel culture and the culture wars and some of this before, but I wanted to talk about the overly sensitive babies. And I'm going to come at it from the angle of, I am not going to validate your sensitivity. You can't force me to. Not anymore. I'm done playing the game. I'm done validating your weakness. Because that's the way I look at it. Now, there are people that are overly sensitive for psychological reasons. And I've been around a lot of severely mentally ill people in my life through various institutions and things like that. And I understand when somebody is so fucked up, and not just because they're depressed or they have anxiety. I'm talking about severe mental illness, that there is an element of sensitivity that comes along with that with some people, and that's clinical. That's a brain issue. The part of the brain that deals with conscientiousness is too active, and there's certain types of people that they just can't help it. They're overly sensitive and they truly can't help it, and they hate it about themselves. And I'm not trying to make it worse. I've been around people like that. I'm not trying to put somebody into a triggered state where they go kill themselves. I get that's a mental problem, and I can be sensitive to that, and I can understand it. Another area which I have to forgive is abuse as a child. If you were abused, if you were raped every day as a child, and you may need some psychiatry, you may need some therapy, you may need some help, and I can tell you, I'm here to tell you, if that happened to you, you can get over it. And you can become strong. You don't have to let even the worst torture ruin your life. You can become incredibly strong despite what happened to you. But I have been around people that have suffered through just the most horrendous abuse as children, where it just makes you want to cry. And I get that there's PTSD, I have PTSD, and I understand when I deal with other people with PTSD that there are certain issues that maybe we don't want to talk about. Maybe I don't want to bring up the Vietnam War around your uncle who freaks out when the Vietnam War has been brought up. Maybe I don't want to bring up certain topics that trigger the person who was abused as a child, because those issues are still so prevalent and they still have work to do, and I can understand that. I can get it. I encourage people that are still stuck in that realm to try and become stronger, but I understand it. I'm not trying to make it worse. Now, those are the areas I can forgive. Put those aside. I won't validate your oversensitivity when it's driven by your anxiety and your fear. Having problems with anxiety and being over anxious is something that you can get on top of. That's not something that is just a genetic predisposition that you have to suffer from for the rest of your life. You can control it. You can become stronger and not have anxiety attacks. I used to have horrible anxiety attacks, even as a kid. Debilitating anxiety attacks. That would spawn into panic attacks. I mean, it's terrible. And I got on top of it. When you are living in a realm of anxiety, your brain literally functions differently. You're like in a state of fight or flight. Your decision making is different. Somebody who bumps into you when you're in a state of fight or flight can be looked at as an attack, whereas when you are in your rational mindset and your calm mindset, somebody bumps into you, you can just be like, no big deal. You laugh it off, make a joke. Maybe you just met a new friend. When you're highly anxious, it's war. That was an attack. Verbal attacks can happen all day long. You can feel all day long, people are just fucking with me. Everything people say, it's like every word is like a knife. What the fuck is wrong with people? That's all in your head, brother. That's your anxiety speaking. That's your fear. You're in a state of fear and you're not seeing properly. So you need to calm down. Meditation. Get into some Zen shit. You can laugh at it or you can stay a scared little bitch. You can try some warrior training. All warriors have a way to meditate and to calm down because they realize I need to navigate from a place of power, not a place of weakness. And I'm not going to validate your weakness. I'm not going to validate your fear and anxiety. The overly sensitive babies could also be experiencing a lot of guilt. See, these are reasons why people become overly sensitive. One is anxiety, another one is guilt. Guilt is a big topic, and that can cause a person to be an overly sensitive little brat. One of these Karens, some little cancel culture motherfucker, culture warrior, social justice warrior, getting butthurt over everything. These are the type of people that they get all pissed off at something that Dave Chappelle says. They want to cancel him. Because, they may feel guilty about something from their past, about how they used to be. And there's certain types of people that get overly righteous with their shit and then they try to rewrite the past. I've seen this in recovery. And you get some people in the 12-step world that they get so goddamn self-righteous and they start acting like they're better than everybody else. And you have to remind them, look, you used to sleep in the fucking alleyway. You used to suck dick for crack. Shut the fuck up. Stop being so sensitive about everything. Trying to correct motherfuckers. Trying to tell people what they should be like, what they should fucking think. Obviously, insecurities contribute heavily to sensitivity. When you're sensitive, it's an insecurity. When I've been sensitive about issues in my life. I've had body issues. I've had intelligence issues where I thought I was stupid. And those were areas that I guarded. And when someone would try to make any, even if it was not even really that critical, but make a comment that I didn't like, and that could be however I'm feeling that day, could determine what I don't like. So it's rather vague, rather fluent. Makes everybody walk around on eggshells, and it's like, you better avoid a couple topics with me. You even bring that shit up, I'll jump down your fucking throat. And these were issues that I was just sensitive on, that I was weak in. And as I became smarter, as I started working on my weaknesses, I became less sensitive about them. Now someone can call me stupid and I would just laugh, whereas before I'd have a gun down through the back of your throat. Who's stupid now, bitch? How's that taste? So insecurities are an area that you can work on. These are all areas. You have your anxiety, your guilt, your insecurities. One area that you can work on, but it's going to be hard for you, is a lot of people ended up with this overly sensitive mentality of the world because their parents were overprotective. And that's not something you can control. You can't control how your parents treated you. They were too protective. Maybe you had overprotective parents, and now you're an overly sensitive little brat. You never fully grew up. You never learned how to be resilient. You never learned how to snap back because you were never really stretched that far. Because your parents never let you do anything, really. You stayed in the house. You let your school system emasculate you. You believed the lies that you were told about colonialism and how everything is your fault. You're the cause of the problems in the world just by sheer being a man. Patriarchy, masculinity, it's all you. Maybe you weren't allowed to play with cap guns. Maybe you weren't allowed to get dirty and roughhouse in the dirt. Maybe you never broke an arm or sprained an ankle or had these types of roughhouse play injuries that kids get, whether it's on the playground or climbing trees in the woods or on a sports team. Maybe you never had any of that. Maybe you were never even really bullied that much. You think you were. But with these anti-bullying campaigns that have been going for the last 20 years, you don't really know what bullying is like unless you grew up in the 70s. The 1970s bullies knew how to do it, boy, because they had a power structure behind them. Those motherfuckers would whoop your ass, and wouldn't nobody help you. I came home crying one day, got beat up. I was 7 years old. I got beat up by a kid who was probably twice my age. I came home at 7 years old and crying. And woke my mom up. She was asleep, of course. And I woke her up. Mom, I got beat up over by the store. She looked at me and she was just like, I don't see no bruises. And then she went back to sleep. That's how bullying was dealt with back when I was a kid. Now, you parents are going to go and riot. You're going to have pass laws. We need bullies. I need to have a campaign of Save the Bullies. The bullies kept us hard, kept us smart, kept us quick. I know how to ride my bike quick, motherfucker, because people would steal my bike. You learn. Younger generations aren't learning. And this overprotective parenting has left you without the skills that you needed in order to survive. So you can solve this, but you're going to need to strengthen yourself, to harden yourself. Practice being offended. It's good practice. Practice being challenged. It's good practice. Get yourself a friend who challenges what you say. See if you can still be friends with them. It's all just food for thought. Something needs to be done about this overprotective baby culture that's going on. We can't let it go on too much longer. I refuse to validate it. And I'm going to push back. I don't know about you guys. Thanks for watching.